You are watching the first and longest running new media broadcast for Star Wars The Old Republic. Welcome to Game Breakers The Republic. You will never need to listen to any other Old Republic podcast ever again. Oh, who were they kidding? They're just a bunch of nerds geeking out about the Old Republic on the internet. But here's your host, a little short for a stormtrooper. It's Larry Everett.
Hey everybody, this is Larry Everett, and you are watching the 194th episode of The Republic. And today, our news is that the new expansion for Star Wars The Old Republic launched. This is going to be all about Shadow of Revan. I have a ton of guests with me today, like a literal ton. I think if you put them all together, they weigh a ton. And we'll...
That wasn't in the notes. Oh,
that is
all of a sudden
not in the
they
notes.
all left.
Yeah. Now it's later. It's much later. No. All right. We will start. Let's see. Let's just go down my list here. We've got from the Mad Feeling podcast. We've got Chuck. How's it going, Chuck? He's back again with the beard.
and this time, hopefully, the microphone sounds a little better than last time.
It does. Sounds amazing. Right. And his partner in crime from Bad Feeling Podcast is Brian.
Hey, that's me.
That's you.
Oh, holy crap, I'm on the internet. Space Jesus welcomes you.
And from Curly and Run Radio and Pretty Little Sith, we have Heather. How's it going, Heather?
Hey, guys.
And then everybody's favorite from Game Breaker TV and the internet at large, we have Mike Byrne. What's up?
Ooh, yeah. I think we're a little less than a ton because you shaved.
That's right.
So we're just a little less.
Little less. And last but not least, of course, from UtiniCast, we have Redna. What's up? My man.
I did my best to compensate with a little bit of facial hair of my own, but apparently that didn't. I'm no Larry. Let's just say.
Yeah, sorry. It's a lot of beard to compensate for, unfortunately. So
I'll try to make up for everybody.
Yeah, I think you have. I think you have, Chuck. Yeah. So, gosh, we got a lot of people here, and so I'm going to just give a little bit of rundown for everybody that is watching before we get into the questions that I have for the panel. Let me also turn this down a little bit so it's not overwhelming. I want to. I want to hear everybody's opinion here. Everybody has a different opinion, very varied. Is that a word? Is that a phrase that I could use? I don't know. Whatever. But we do want to limit the answers, but I am going to go back and forth just to hear. I've limited everybody to 2 minutes just to see what happens. See if we can keep that to 2 minutes. Doubtful.
Are you gonna time us? Is a buzzer gonna go off?
I will make one. No. That would be hilarious if it did. But first off, I think the first thing I really want to know, and I'll start over with Heather. I'm going to go through everybody with this one. I won't necessarily, unfortunately, get to everybody with every question. Maybe, hopefully, I can get to everybody with every question, but we'll see what happens. I want to start over with Heather so that everybody that's watching understands what's happening. Let me ask you, first off, what class do you play? And, well, actually, let me just start with that. And how far have you gotten into the expansion so far? Just...
Well, I play a Sith Assassin, but...
Time's up!
But the first character I actually played was my Shadow, and I pretty much got to the end until the last boss, which we have a lot to talk about on that.
Okay.
Wait,
so you're
I also have a really
life?
special reason on why I played my Shadow and not my Assassin, because my Shadow is on the Bastion and my Assassin is on the Harbinger.
Yes. That is something that is actually not in the notes that I want to talk about as well. But we'll get into that a little later. I don't know who's next on the list. Chuck, go ahead. Remind everybody what you play and how far have you gotten into the expansion so far?
Sniper, and regrettably, I have not been able to get far enough. I am still on Rishi, and still trying to figure out everything on that damn map right now. So that's I've been spinning my wheels. I decided to go out last night instead of play the game.
What?
I know.
What kind of gamer are you? You're losing some cred here, man.
I'm a terrible,
day
terrible
off?
gamer.
I mean, what is your problem? There is no life outside of Star Wars.
I know.
That's
Right.
right.
Trust me. I thought about it and hard. All I was thinking about during the entire show was I need to get back and figure out my rotation. Because
You know,
I need to get
personally,
back
I
in
think
game shape, guys.
it looks to me, honestly, you might have been sneaking away from the game because you're out preparing the packages for Life Day.
Excellent. Well, since you're hearing Redna there, Redna, what is I know you have multiple classes. What is your main class, and how many times actually have you gone through the expansion? I'm sure that's probably the better question for you.
Once.
Really?
Yeah.
You are slacking, sir.
I was able to get all 16 advanced classes with a few extras on various other servers, but I only got one. Yeah, I didn't take the day off of work either, and I don't have kids, so I don't have any excuses. I don't know what my problem is. But
what was
and I wasn't able to finish it, of course, because of the bug. But beyond that, I also completely I was planning on doing hard modes, the new hard modes, and kind of fell down the rabbit hole of PvP and brand new main. I ran a poll for the past 2 weeks, and it came out Merc Commando, and have fallen in love with the healing. PvP, like, oh my goodness, I definitely am terrible, but it's a hell of a lot of fun.
Excellent. Well, let's see who haven't hit. I haven't hit. I'll go ahead and hit Burn. I know Burn hasn't gotten that far. You might not even be in the expansion yet, but go ahead.
So here's the deal, all right? I used to play Jedi Knight, so I have a level-capped Jedi Knight. And then Larry and I became friends a long time ago through Game Breaker, and I said, hey, man, I want to come and play with you guys. Is that cool? Yeah, yeah, it's fine. Come on. Like, son of, I can't faction change. Damn it. So I started leveling a Juggernaut, and then the 12 times bonus hit, and I was in good shape. I was like, you know what? I'll catch up right in time. We'll jump into the expansion together and everything. And I played too many damn games, and I only got to 45 with a 12 times bonus. So I haven't played any of the new content yet as far as the stories or the planets, but I have been experimenting with Juggernaut and tanking and DPS rotations, so I'll have some input on that one.
Yeah, excellent. That is exactly why I brought you on board with that, because I'd like to, because a lot of things have changed with it, as far as that's concerned. So we'll get into that in just a bit. And last but not least, again, Brian, what class are you playing, and how far have you gotten in the expansion so far?
I've been doing my now called Innovative Ordnance Merc. I can't think of a cute acronym for that. IO or INORD. Anyway, mercenary.
Okay.
Just about through Rishi. Got to the part where the quests actually differ, and then I've got a Deception Assassin. I'm actually at about the same point. Finished the bulk of the Rishi storyline and gotten into the point where it differs by class. So I'm still on that first starter planet. But I did rock all the flashpoints in solo mode. They were kind of silly.
Well, actually, yeah, we'll talk about some solo mode stuff. Let me find the button that says everyone. So we've got most everybody here is still on Rishi. Have you just real quick? Has anybody?
No spoilers. I didn't know there were new planets yet. Damn it.
Man, we just killed it for Mike. Has everybody got to, except for Mike, got to the class story yet?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And
I've done 2 of them.
Excellent. All right.
It was shorter. It was shorter than I thought it was shorter.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's talk about that since it's here. What did you think? What did you think of the assassin class story? You said you thought it was shorter. Is there?
Well, you see, I was playing my shadow.
Oh well, okay. Shadow, go ahead.
Yes, I was watching the consular story, and it's okay.
Was it what I'm curious about? And this is one of the things that they kind of hinted at when I talked to the developers. I don't know, about a month ago or so. They said that it is going to put a cap on the class story and kind of close everything out and kind of get a good start to where we were going. Do you think that that's an accurate statement, Heather? Did it kind of finish it off? Did it kind of finish everything off? Did this class story finish everything off for you, or was it?
It seemed it just seemed like a commercial break almost. It was like, oh well, this is gonna happen, and then maybe you'll have more adventures, but maybe not. That's kind of the feeling that I got. It wasn't really wasn't like a big storyline. It was just kind of, oh well, here, go do this thing, and then you might have more adventures.
Because I had anybody, I don't think anybody in here has said that they play a Sith warrior, right? Nobody, okay. So I can
not yet.
I mean, I'll say, I mean, the Sith warrior for me, that storyline kind of. It really did kind of put a cap on everything, or at least kind of give you a good indication of where everything was going and kind of close everything off for you. Like it wasn't as in depth as I was hoping it would be, but it was like, okay, here's kind of an end to it.
Can I ask you guys something? I mean, you guys have all been through the class story, and that was the big. We're bringing story back. You guys have wanted story. We're going to bring some story back. But everything that I'm reading and seeing, maybe you guys can confirm this for me if this is the case, is it's nice to have the class story right now, but there's like this much of it. It's like in some cases
That's
one quest or 3 quests, and boom, the story's done. Keep going. Is that the case?
What do you think?
I'd love to know your source that says that they're bringing class story back, because all they ever said was, we're bringing one mission. I was actually impressed that it was as long as it was. I thought it would be, you go in, you talk to somebody, and that's the mission. They actually have you do something, so I was pleased by that. And from the 2 I've seen, really what they've done is they've kind of addressed why the characters that you interacted with throughout your class story, what they've been up to a little bit, and kind of put some closure on your class story. And the hope is that what they'll be able to do with that then in the future is, a future expansion or content pack would be to release an overarching planet story arc, but then actually send you off on class missions that are dedicated and centered around what your class is, but it's not going to have this infinite storytelling about your class.
Do you think that we're looking at that this is a new kickoff, that we'll see more class story in the future of Tor, or this is just one thing to kind of set you up for the future, or what are your thoughts on that, Brian? Go ahead and throw this one to you.
I'd hope so. And honestly, I'm kind of in the same boat as Mike, because I thought there would be more class-specific missions. And so when I started my second character on Rishi, and it's the exact same quest line with almost the exact same dialogue, I was a little bit taken aback, because I thought that was the class-specific bit. And yeah, it was, you kind of just ride off into the sunset, and there's some closure in the bounty hunter line, but not really. And I haven't finished the assassin one yet. So in my mind, that's what everybody wants. That's what they're known for, is the storytelling, obviously. So why not do more class-specific stuff? Even if I'd like to see more, but the 2-3 quests that you get for each class, for me, were just not enough. Like I said, I was a little disappointed that I ended up running the same missions at the start of Rishi. I thought we would be going in different paths.
Did you experience something similar, Chuck?
Well, I mean, I kind of felt like I wanted to go. I want another chapter. I want a full chapter. Whether that means it's in one piece in 5 levels, another piece in 10 levels. Instead of just these little chunks. And that's the hard part for me, is I figured that there would be something that would extend the story out and maybe leave you hanging a little bit. Not really give you any kind of closure. And I mean, I've just begun the sniper story, and I've kind of been following along with everybody too, and it's like, yeah, it's just not enough. But does it leave it open ended enough that they can keep that story going? And I think that would be the what I would want the most.
All right, because I'm honestly I was on the fence about it a little bit as well. I think more, and I don't want to give any spoilers, honestly. At this point, maybe next week we'll spoil everything. But this week, I think...
Well, looks like I'm going to be busy this week, then, if I don't want my stuff spoiled.
But I do think that the only one that I can really see benefiting, like, have any kind of closure at all in this whole situation, and I have not now, I'll admit, I've only seen 2 of the class missions. I've seen the agent one and the warrior one. The agent one kind of like, whatever. But then I had a neutral agent as well, so that's kind of, that was kind of maybe had a play in that as well. But I think that the warrior most definitely had a good closure for the whole class story and what has happened up to that point. And I forget, I think it was Red that said that you run into people that you've seen before, and that was kind of what happened with the warrior as well. And then at the very end of the expansion, the warrior gets his or her own kind of ending. There's a little bit different ending that I don't see how it's really going to be. For the other classes, I don't see how it's going to be a different ending for them. There's a little bit of different ending for the warrior, and if you know the warrior story, you'll know why. So, but other than that,
ask a question of everybody actually along the lines, because I know clearly you all wanted more storytelling, and I mean maybe BioWare will. We know for a fact that they have said flat out, if this is received well, then we'll expand upon it in the future, which is of course. We all want more class story. It was wonderful that they had it, and I would like them to expand on it, of course. What if they actually took the approach that, I mean, clearly, for those people, you don't have to give spoilers to know that the Jedi Knight story, everybody talks about the fact that it seems like that was KOTOR 3, right? Yeah. And the Warrior story was kind of like the dark side version of that.
Yeah. You could be okay. So
an expansion on the concept.
To be clear about spoilers, though, just go ahead. You can talk about what happens in Tor, like in the launch version of Tor. Go ahead, talk all you want about that. Just the expansion is all I'm really concerned about as far as spoilers go.
Well, I haven't finished the Jedi Knight story.
We're spoiling it for you right here. Just kidding.
I like that out of all of the ones we could be talking about, we're talking about the one that I do have a max level of. So that's pretty cool. There's no spoilers here for me on this one.
Well, I don't need to spoil anything to say that I have been advising everybody that has been speaking to me that they should probably, and I even went so far as to do the Jedi Knight story with the 12 times experience for the sole purpose of preparing for this expansion. Obviously, it is involved with Revan as well as what Revan's all about. And the warrior story reflects that well, although Revan himself is not directly tied into it. I could easily see, especially since I just finished the warrior or the Guardian Jedi Knight story again, I realized that there was a lot more involved in there than I had remembered, because the first time I did it was, 3 years ago? It actually lends itself to the next expansion. So what if they focus the next expansion, and maybe you don't get a 100% unique class story for the Jedi Knight, but instead that's actually the basis of an expansion. And then they start working their way through expansions where every single one of these classes really does have something independent going on within the galaxy, and they start doing story that is, the entire expansion storyline is based off of, this is the extension of each class.
So you've
got 8 different expansions built into that right there.
Wait, so you're expecting? I know that's exactly what I was thinking. Go ahead, Bern.
You bounty hunters can look forward to having your expansion 3.5 years from now.
Right.
You smugglers, you're 8
years out.
That's gonna be like 12 years.
They did say, just to be fair, they did say they have a 10-year plan. Just putting that out there. Maybe the
What is it, don't die? Sorry, that's a movie quote.
Conceptually, though, because they said they don't have any more plans like GSF or Strongholds, and those were considered expansion by BioWare, what if they started doing an expansion at least once a year? Or actually twice a year, every 6 months?
Maybe. I mean,
I guess that depends on...
Go ahead,
I guess that depends on what you call an expansion. Do you?
Well, this expansion is PvE only, so that's
Right.
the expansion apparently.
Yeah, and that's my point. Do you need 2 operations and 2 new planets to consider an operation, or do you need more story and another daily area? So, yeah, I mean, depending on how you term expansion, we've had 3 or 4 this calendar year, if you count Starfighter, Strongholds, Conquests, and 3.0.
Yeah, well, that's true. I mean, they did, and they do call them expansions. They do call them expansions as well. And to be honest, in relative terms, this expansion is not as big as say a WoW expansion that just came out. It's not nearly as big as that. And I think that maybe it's a little unfair to the customers. I don't know, to call this an expansion, because it kind of sets an expectation that is just not there. But at the same time, expansion, it is technically an expansion. I mean, if you go to some of the other MMOs that have existed since the dawn of time, which, like, EQ and whatnot, their expansions were smaller. Were just some of them were the size of what we experienced in Star Wars: The Old Republic. Is it? I guess the question here, then, and I'll throw this back to Brian since he brought it up. Is it fair to call this an expansion?
I would say yes. You hit a lot of major bases with the new worlds to explore and the level cap. Those by themselves would probably qualify as an expansion in some names, but then you add additional flashpoints and operations. So that's a lot of content. It is all PvE. There's no PvP. But I don't know. In my mind, there's enough quantity to term it expansion.
Throw this into Heather. What do you think this is enough to call it an expansion, or you on the yes? Everything.
Yes, I will say a little bit more though. When I went down to EA, I remember them talking something about how this was a story expansion. So I think on their team within themselves, they have labels for different things. They were saying, can we do another story expansion, or can we do another that type of expansion? So I think they wanted to put this one out. They wanted to tell the story, and I think the next things that are coming out are going to be a little bit different. Well,
then I have a question regarding that then, and maybe since you went down to EA and talked to some of them. By the way, she went down to EA before the expansion launched and played the game before everybody else did. But at any rate, is it fair then to put a price tag on this expansion, which is a story expansion, and not put a price tag on other expansions, like maybe a PvP expansion, like the expansion with Strongholds, the expansion with Galactic Starfighter? Is that fair? Not fair? How do you feel about that, Heather?
Well, it seems to me like it's an expansion because it's another chapter in the story, and whereas everything else is just another game update, where, they're really big game updates that they call expansions, like Strongholds and Galactic Starfighter, but this one, I feel like it's an expansion because it's a story. It's a big part of the story. It's another chapter that's not simply a game update. It's an extension. Do
you feel that it's because the level cap went up? You think that had anything to do with it? That way they can charge for it?
That too. I mean, yeah, I guess so. I don't know. I mean, this is the only MMO I've ever played.
Sure, absolutely. So. Well, let me ask Mike here, because he plays all sorts of MMOs, because obviously he doesn't have time to level up his character.
And I'm only actively playing 3 hardcore right now. 3. That's it.
So
and Zelda.
As far as expansion goes, I understand what Heather's saying, and we were told, the other site that I do a lot of stuff for, we're at the event for EA as well, and BioWare may have internally different definitions of expansions, and this is a story one, and this is a PvP one, and this is this one, and that's fine. This is a housing one, great. That's fine. You can call them that internally. I think calling them expansions externally is a bit of a disservice to people that aren't as following the game as closely as the people that are on this panel or watching this show. We know that when they use the word expansion, it's probably going to be a little smaller than what we normally think of as an expansion. To somebody that's more casual about playing the game, when you see expansion in advertising, there's an expectation that goes with that on size. When you don't include any PvP content, to me, if I'm a more casual player, I feel like that expansion got gypped a little bit. There's stuff missing from there. So fine, call it that internally if you want, but externally, I think we should probably call these something else. Granted, I don't feel as bad buying them or as ripped off because you are charging $20 instead of $50 or $60. But as a marketing ploy, I don't like the term expansion for the last 3 expansions that SWTOR's had.
I know that Red, I'm sure you have a lot to say about that, considering you're probably the biggest PvPer on the panel. Do you think that this being only PvE merits the price tag, or is there, or even the label expansion?
The irony being that you mentioned the price tag, and 2.0 had content for all game types and was half the cost. Yeah. That's the only pain point I actually have on it. Yeah, no, I agree. I agree with you. I'm there with you too. It was, Rise of the Hutt Cartel had PvP, had operations, had new storylines. Although, granted, I know as far as some people are concerned that the storyline didn't live up in Rise of the Hutt Cartel as it did even in this expansion, but still, the content itself was bigger, and yet we had to pay less for it. So that's kind of an odd thing, I think, as well. But anybody else have any comments on that particular subject? As far as, well, I did actually have
go ahead.
One thing beyond that. At the end of the day, a lot of people don't like to admit it, but with the introduction of the discipline system, it really does shake up PvP quite a bit. Even though there aren't new maps or new game modes, it's new for PvP. And the hope and the prayer, and only time will tell, because we've certainly been boned frequently in the past, but they are saying, and hopefully we can actually trust them on this, that with the discipline system they're going to be able to do more rapid, consistent class balance changes, and that's excellent for PvP. So if this system plays out that way, I actually am happier with that. The complete neglect of GSF and the fact that they have said flat out there's nothing in development, they only have ideas, that's another huge pain point. It's like, why do you keep adding all of these new systems and then just leave them by the wayside? But my only actual... I will contest with you that the story that was written for McCab was as good, just dramatically different than this one. And you guys actually haven't even gotten far enough, most of you, it sounds like, to really appreciate what is in this expansion is actually phenomenal.
Yeah.
It is really, really incredible, and it's like towards the end of Rishi, it just starts to build, and it keeps building. It doesn't stop, and it's very compelling, and it's great. The thing that a lot of people forget about Rise of the Hutt Cartel is that what they did with that storytelling was you had to play both the Imperial and the Republic side to appreciate it. If you didn't, then you couldn't appreciate it. And that's what I think. It was a failure on their part. It was great, it was innovative, it was wonderful, but it ended up being a failure, not because it was a bad implementation, but because most people don't play both sides. Most people aren't like me and playing, light side, dark side, male, female, every single story, to get that full rich experience. And so, although I feel now people are complaining, oh, but with with Revan, they're the same, Imperial and Republic. Yeah, well, that's because instead they gave us a really deep, rich, incredible story on its own, no matter which faction you were on, and much better cinematics and better storytelling. I mean, it's incredible. It's just different.
Well, actually, that kind of leads to the next question. What do people what do you guys think of the story overall? Let's first. I hate to kind of break it up here, but I mean I know some people haven't run through everything. But to you guys that have played through Rishi, what are you guys thinking of it so far? What do you think about it, Chuck? What are your thoughts on Rishi so far?
As far as the insane map, it's great. It's a wonderful place to play.
Is it what you were expecting from the storyline, or what? Or is, I guess, a quality of storyline? Hopefully, it wasn't something you expected.
No, I mean, like, as far as in relation to what the planet was supposed to be and that kind of thing, or just kind of stand alone, like.
Yeah. I mean, actually, I mean, as far as lore is concerned, I mean, Rishi is your pirate world, right? It's actually where I think is Mara Jade and Talon Card actually had set up in the expanded universe, and that's about the only time it was ever mentioned was there, and it is a pirate world, a place for smugglers. Does that meet your expectation, and does the story do you feel that the story envelops that I guess that theme as well? What do you think?
Well, so far being a dark side sniper, it's been kind of fun. It's actually kind of a fun place to beat the crap out of people and kill stuff, and that's kind of been a really a good place to be, because it is sort of the place for the smuggler, like you said, and those characters seem to have a lot more fun in that environment.
Yeah, I agree. What are your thoughts, Brian? You feeling the same?
Yeah, I think it fits. It's been a while since I've read the original Thrawn trilogy, but yeah, it definitely fits the pirate haven, whatever pirate's lair that it's supposed to be, with the wooden boardwalks and everybody's kind of dirty. I think it's fun. There's a lot of little hidden avenues. So I think as a world, I think it really does encapsulate kind of that theme pretty well.
The aesthetics of that was the first thing that we noticed when we were looking at the screenshots and things along that line of Rishi is this is like this the wooden boardwalks and whatnot mixed with these futuristic neon signs and things along that line. What are your thoughts, Heather, on the aesthetics of Rishi? Let's talk about Rishi first off.
I really like it, especially, like in the town area. It just looks like colorful slums that are really tall. I think that's a good description, but then there's all these pirates running around. I even, when I played my assassin, I brought Andronicus out, because he's a pirate. I like to, kind of RP and pretend.
That's a good point. Does it immerse you in this world? It feels immersive, because there's pirates all around. I have my little pirate companion. I'm wearing a pirate outfit if I wanted to. I'm on board with that. Actually, I kind of wish that my Sith warrior had a little bit more of a pirate companion that it could help me immerse me in this world. Because if I'll admit from my perspective, that Rishi jarred me a little bit as a Sith warrior, and probably would do something very similar as a Sith Inquisitor, because this is a pirate world, and my Sith warrior is the Emperor's wrath. Here I am, this lofty Sith, and I'm on this pirate world, and I don't think it's any big spoiler to say that when you start out you're mistaken for somebody else, and that. But it was jarring. It was jarring at first, but I do have to say that I think that that Rishi certainly encapsulated the whole world of science fiction pirates, like almost. Gosh, I'm gonna date myself by saying ice pirates.
Ah, yes.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Somebody else.
Great reference. That was terrible.
Yeah.
Right? Am I right? Does it remind you of Ice Pirates at all? Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. No. I get exactly what you're talking about, man. I mean, if you want to bring that up to date, you could probably even put it in a Firefly context. But it feels really it feels like a really good thick world that you can get in there with all sorts of different aspects. With you've got all the water and all that, and then you get the sewer, and then I mean it's a really deep, thick environment to play in, and it's been a lot of fun to kind of explore everything. You know, it's something that in the creature wise, it's all not as heavy duty as like McCab was the first time you got there, and how bad those creatures were that would just kick your ass every time you went through there. So it hasn't been that bad. The jungle wampas, you know, they kind of frighten me. I have nightmares about them. But
I am in love with the jump.
They're so hairy. It feels like it's hot outside. Like, don't they get hot?
The
wampas.
Wookiee lives in the forest, you know. I mean, it's there's got to be something. There's got to be a cooling effect or something. I mean, look at me. I live in Texas.
I actually love the jungle wampas. I think they're amazing. I was not expecting.
I thought it was cool too. I just thought they're a little too furry for the tropical environment.
Yeah,
they splash around in the waterfalls, you know, when you're not looking.
That's right.
There were some nice waterfalls. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Brian.
Sorry, I think the world, especially the outdoor part, I think it's every bit as beautiful as Rakata Prime was. I think they reused a lot of those same ideas, you know, with the palm trees and the waterfalls and, you know, all the stuff in the background. I think it looks just as impressive.
It looks, in some places, way too similar, personally.
Yeah, I was about ready to say thing. Would you say that it is almost exactly like a Ricotta Prime in some places? I was looking at parts of it, and I'm like,
aside from the fact that they added some buildings with wood rather than metal or stone, a lot of places it looks very, 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 very similar.
But you know what? There's no crazy owl guy on this.
Which I'm actually okay with that, because Ricotta Prime is a flashpoint, and I like to see a world built out of it.
I agree. I agree with that. So, just without revealing any spoilers, or at least keep them down a little bit, is there anything so far that just like really stands out to you as like this was the coolest thing on? Let me go to Brian first here. What was the coolest thing on Rishi that you've run into so far?
With my bounty hunter running the that flashpoint that's on there, where you, without giving any spoilers, that first flashpoint that you come across versus the torch or the flame, whatever that NPC is called.
Torch.
The torch. That was definitely the coolest part.
The flashlight.
Or as Americans call it, the flashlight. That's right.
That was definitely the coolest part of Rishi for my bounty hunter character. That was the most fun.
I am with you. Actually, you know what? I was going to say something completely different as my favorite thing, but now that you mentioned that flashpoint, yes.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree. Actually, there was nothing on the planet until you mentioned it to me that really impressed me, and might be the coolest addition as a character to the game since launch, in my opinion.
Definitely.
Yeah, I was super stoked to see that final boss there.
Yeah, okay. So this should key everybody in that's watching. Run that flashpoint. What is it? What is that flashpoint called? Is Big Hunt? Is that what it's called?
Blood Hunt.
Blood Hunt. I knew it began with a B. Forgot the name of it. Blood Hunt. Everybody run that flashpoint as soon as you can. In fact, I have run it since. Like the first day. I think it was the first day that I was in. I ran it twice and. Once solo, which it is a solo flashpoint too, which is I don't know if we talk about those, but if that's in the show notes or not to talk about. But
fair warning: all the solo flashpoints can only be run once solo.
Yeah,
be aware of that.
Absolutely. And the solo flashpoint I ran it solo, and then I ran it in a group. Red, what stood out to you? Well, you already said that. You said the Blood Hunt. Sorry. What about you, Heather? Did anything stand out to you besides Blood Hunt, or is that pretty much unanimous answer here on Rishi?
I like Blood Hunt, but are we talking story or just random things?
Well, let's talk about story first. As far as the story was concerned.
Well, I liked a lot. I like the water. That's not story. I like going in that little. I guess I can. This doesn't really give anything away. I guess there's a part where you go into the crate and then you get moved somewhere else. I know that's. Really
oh yeah. I know what you. I know.
That was fun and kind of creative, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, and I was thinking that we were right on that part with the video, but no, we're not. We're pretty close though. But yeah, that was pretty cool too. I do like the cutscenes. So they were well done.
I really like that bird. All the birds.
What are you talking about, everybody?
Birds the word.
They look really nice. I have like these super high graphics, and they look really good, and their voices are entertaining, and they're cute.
They are here. I actually have I have a clip of the bird here that we can show everybody. This is the bird in action.
Oh, please say it has audio.
Oh, I can turn up the audio.
Wherever that is.
This isn't a spoiler. This is right at the very beginning.
Heard, but you're mistaken.
Nice try.
But there's another bird
no
that's
mistake
dressed
in
like
the talk of
fancier
the
than
town.
him, and I like him.
Seems
too.
like everyone in Raiders Cove is going on
Statement
about
bird.
you and all your
Oh yeah,
insane adventures.
there is a second one that you run into, but this guy's kind of crazy.
It's very natural.
My people pick up languages. and
Hey, at
stuff.
least
What do
he's
you
not
like?
as bad as Jar Jar.
That is a positive.
Welcome to Pirate Land, everybody. Thanks for coming.
I'm surprised though that they put these birds in the game, but you don't like see them flying around or like anything. They just kind of walk around.
That is
Like-
kind of weird that they all just kind of walk, because actually in the comics the Rishi who weren't on Rishi actually flew around. They actually they would fly. But they still use spears and things along that line. But at any rate,
That's right. He sounds like Don Knotts.
Totally does. I saw that too. I was like, that's exactly what it is.
Gosh, we have some old people in the chat room. Just
What do you mean? Oh, all these ostriches.
So
They're gonna damage the carpets.
Who's Don Knotts?
exactly, I have no idea who he is. That's
We could wormhole down this and say, his blaster only fires one shot.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
so,
I got it. I
I'm
was
busy
there.
Googling real quick.
He's- oh, him.
He
So
was the one on Matlock.
he was not on Matlock.
It was the other guy that was on Madlock.
Oh,
Wasn't he like... He
It was
was
Andy
like
Griffith. Oh, yeah.
Anyway, all right. So Red. Okay, so
Yeah.
What the hell has happened to this show?
this show's gone totally off the rails now. All right.
Sorry about that.
All right. So, Red, let me ask you about some of the things that might be missing from Rishi specifically. Was there anything that we've said the things that we really liked? Is there something that, like, one thing that stood out that said, hey, you know what? I really wish they had this. What would it have been? Anything other than PvP?
Actually, I might as well go ahead and say, since everybody knows I'm on a PvP server, I got killed once. I killed somebody else maybe 2 separate occasions, but that's because they attacked me, and I had friends. But it's been very quiet on the Bastion, actually. People are, respecting and allowing them to do the leveling experience, which is great. Honestly, I was a bit underwhelmed. I'd rather talk about Yavin 4.
All right. Well, let's.
I have some.
It's like, I reject your topic and insert my own.
That's right. Thank you
Exactly.
very much. All right, what did you think? What did you think, Heather? Was there something that you would have liked to have seen on Rishi that you didn't?
Yeah, well, you know how I brought out Andronicus for flavor? I was hoping he would say something about the environment, because you know how your companions just randomly say things throughout the game and when you're in different places.
That's right.
I
I'm
wish
trying to
he'd say,
think.
oh, I'm a pirate, here are my people, or, he
Yar,
says
I'm
that-
home.
He says kind of something like that when you pick up the class in your ship, but then like once you get there, he like makes no comment, and I wish they had spent just a little extra resources, because those little comments really, I don't know, I like them. I like when Campbell says little Sith, and
Yeah, that's.
I like those little comments that they do, and so I was kind of disappointed that Andronicus didn't comment about being on a pirate world, being a pirate.
Do you guys? Anybody have anything else, or do you absolutely agree that maybe they should have added a little bit more flavor, and everybody's just kind of on a program of some sort? Or what do you think, Brian?
I think the one thing that's kind of clever on a PvP server is the top level where you interact with all the NPCs and everything. That's Sanctuary. But the bottom level, that's actually open PvP. And I thought that was kind of clever, like you go down below the boardwalk and anything goes. So
Into the CD depths.
yes. I thought that was kind of clever, but yeah, it's I would like to see it expanded on for sure.
I didn't get attacked at all on Rishi on the Bastion.
Yeah, me neither.
Don't take the ladder, guys. Shit's going down there.
You might have two hobos going at it. You don't know.
Come on, everybody! Party in the store!
There's fighting under the boardwalk.
All right, well, let's
me of a kid when my parents were fighting in the bedroom.
Wow.
No.
One thing that I had actually been concerned about to try to get this back on track, I don't think I'm going to be able to, but I'll try anyway, is one thing that I was kind of a little bit surprised at is I think, and this goes actually back to what we were talking about as far as the price and scope of the expansion, is I was kind of thinking it would be bigger. I mean, just in general, take up more mass. I mean, we have, I'm pretty darn sure that McKeb took up quite a bit more space, even on the space that you could walk around, if you were just to take all those islands and put them together, and you have a larger map than you have on Rishi, or actually on Rishi and Yavin 4 combined. Do you agree with me, Red? What do you think? You agree?
I would love to see them expand on it. I did think that actually with the multi-layered leveled aspect, Rishi, when I first came and landed on the planet and started opening up, you started seeing the portions that you're opening on your global map. At first I thought it was really tiny, but actually with the multi-layered approach and whatnot, it's actually quite a bit larger than it appears. I'm okay with that. It would be nicer for them to connect the dots. This isn't Mesa's, this isn't McKeb anymore, so it would be nice to have a complete map. Yeah, I like that notion. And it would actually, I'm going to insert my topic again.
He's like, no, really? Could we please talk about Yavin 4 now?
What do you think, Chuck? Were you expecting something bigger for the price, or was this or you think this is good?
I'm still trying to figure out all the ins and outs and the ups and downs and where, like, all the crevasses in there. So it seems, like you said, it feels like it is so much bigger than it actually is, just based on the up down. I'm learning the map a little bit better, but I feel like I get lost all the time, and I'm doubling back on myself and a lot of that stuff. But I feel like it's a good map. I definitely, though, I would like to see that in a PvP environment.
Yeah,
which would be fun.
That would be really interesting. When did the
in the sewers PvP?
That would be really. I would join in if there was PvP in the sewers. I would down there. That would be amazing. I actually might have to go to the Bastion.
That sounds gross. PvP in the sewers.
Oh, that sounds amazing. What are you talking about? It's great. And now I totally forgot what I was going to say. I'm going to ask because I didn't make a note of it. Do you think that this is one of the things that I was concerned about, and it's actually something that I noticed as I was leveling up, and this has to do with the setting itself, is the side quests, not you have the main story quests, which is really easy to keep track of. I think they did a fantastic job of being able to moving you from place to place with the main story quests. There's a little bit of back and forth, but that's, I kind of come to expect that. But
this is actually more organic than they had been before. I liked it.
Yeah, and one of the things though I did have a little bit of trouble with, and I know some people that I've talked to who were leveling up missed some of the side quests. And just especially the dailies and those kinds of things. Did you have any problems with that? Any? I'll just throw this out to the panel. Anybody have any issues with finding the side quests or not? Just you guys.
I didn't miss them. They're like on the way. Like they're on the path.
Well, I gotta admit.
I thought the coolest
There aren't quick travels or
well, no, there's a whole lane of daily quests that I completely skipped over because I went one way. Like there was I went one way to get to the jungle, and the daily quests were the other way, and I totally missed them.
Oh yeah, like you took the top route to get to the jungle.
Line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that
yeah, I guess that's true. If you don't walk in a straight line, like you get sidetracked and you head north or whatever, I could see you missing. What, there were like 4 of them, right?
Yeah, there was like 4 of them or something along that line. I completely missed them, and I had to do. There was a little bit of backtracking I had to do, but I guess that's just me. I know where I stand as far as. Go ahead.
I think one of the best things that they did with the changeover is how they laid out how they do the difference between those, and you don't have to listen to a cutscene to get that quest. You can pop up the thing, the guy says a couple of lines, and you can click accept or not, and walk away from it. It makes it a lot faster and a lot easier to take those side quests or to get those daily quests that way, and to move on instead of linger too long and have to sit and wait for another cutscene to play and do more of that. And it seems like it saves us some time to get through there.
So is that pretty much how everybody feels? I know I'm probably the opposite of everybody else as far as that's concerned, mostly because I am a horrible role player is really what it boils down to. Is I role play and I like the cutscenes. I think that they're great, and I kind of miss them.
Well, I think the cutscenes are awesome in the class story and the storyline,
right.
And I think what they've done there is really brilliant. With the way that they've done the camera work, and they've changed some of the way that they move things within that, like that's totally that part of the update is really awesome. But those side quests always felt like, oh, okay, here we go. Now I got to watch it again the next day so I can get this the next day. Oh, we're gonna do it again the third day. You know, when you're doing these things over and over for a daily or whatever, it's like you're doing, okay, spacebar. Okay, click yes. Okay, just and you don't have to do any of that, which is sort of nice. I mean, I get the RP aspect of it, but really, to me, that's all about I want to hear the guys talk to me again. I want those characters, and it feels like those characters are a little more evolved than having so many different characters spread throughout the entire world.
All right, I'll take that. I mean, I definitely understand that. I mean, because I think that there's something to be said because it's dailies and whatnot, having to do that all over. What did I miss? I missed something completely.
Brian, you're a mess, and you've been doing it the whole show.
It's great.
Now I'm gonna have to rewind and watch this again to see what happened.
Chat room only just noticed I've been working so hard to have my face straight the whole time.
I know. Yeah. I couldn't do it anymore. The thing that got me was the last one while Chuck was talking. He's like, he looks terrifying.
It took me a little while to get right.
I gotta laugh now.
It took me a little while to get it right because our screens are flipped.
Right.
It's a story. Government Brady.
With the show, we're just gonna end the show right here, guys. We're out.
Derailing.
I can stroke Chuck's beard though, so it is kind of cool.
Oh my god.
All right. One of the things that, and this will actually lead into some of the stuff that Redna has to say, the discipline system. This is, although I'm not going to go to Redna first, I do want to ask Mike this because Mike he's got a lower level character and everything's kind of changed as far as the skill trees and stuff are concerned. Do you notice a change in how your character plays with the discipline system and that maybe you have abilities that you didn't have before or things along that line, even at lower level? What are you thinking about that, Mike?
Oh yeah. And you notice it right away. I like what they tried to do here. Particularly, I play in Star Wars. I stick to tanks: Jedi Knight, Juggernaut, and I'm tanky all the time. And one of the things that I do like is the shifting of some of the abilities to the lower levels, because you really didn't feel like a tank on the Knight and Juggernaut until about until about level, I don't know, late 20s, early 30s, when you start picking up the taunts. Because other than that, you have very little aggro abilities. They've shifted a lot of those abilities to lower levels, and you do feel tanky right away. And that was the whole point of this, right? They wanted people to, besides the whole balancing thing that Redna mentioned earlier.
Did you start this new recently?
What's
What
that?
level were you when you started?
When I started what?
The 3.0 with the new discipline system.
42, I think, because I got to 46 before this show. 46 or 47.
Okay, so even at that point, you felt much more tanky.
Yes, with an exception, though, that I'm going to get to in just a second. I said I like what they tried to do to make this feel like more of your specific advanced classes at lower levels. The second portion of that is that I don't think they succeeded in all areas here. You do start to feel like you're a little more tanky at lower levels. However, some of the, like retaliation being my moved from the GDC and some of the other passives, and it's not quite there. I mean, I now have abilities that seem really cool to be able to use, but almost when I get to level cap, I'm never going to have the opportunity to use because they now rely on things like a random draw on a parry or a dodge, which in an ideal world I'm never going to be dodged at those certain points. So I'm hit and miss with this. It feels different. The muscle memory does have to be relearned again. I like what they tried to do, but I don't think they nailed this one for me.
All right. Let me ask Heather. What are your thoughts on the discipline system? And I know because you're one of those people similar to me that play one class and kind of stick to that class. Did you notice any differences as far as your gameplay was concerned with an assassin?
Yeah, it's so easy. It's so easy. Like, instead of me respecing my entire tree just because I wanted to take some force slow thing instead of whatever PvE thing for PvP, I can just go in and change the utilities, click one button, and go click through. I'm sure eventually I'll memorize exactly which ones are which, but all I have to do is just click through for what situation I'm going into, and that's much faster than respecing. I don't know if you don't have the field respecialization, if you can just change your utilities anywhere, but
yeah, you cannot actually. That would be an issue. And who doesn't get that really? If you don't have field respect, you're playing the game wrong. You heard it here. So Mike is playing the game wrong, apparently.
Oh no, we're fine.
Okay,
We're
good.
Do you? I don't know why people are so confused. It's really simple. You just click deception, and that's it. It's really simple. And it gives you all the abilities that you're supposed to use for your spec.
Do you think that as far as the actual spec is concerned, do you notice, because one of the things that they said, and they never really actually demonstrated this, which was kind of it kind of put me off a little bit when they were doing the live streams, is that they demonstrated the new abilities that you got, but they never really demonstrated them being used in a rotation of any sort. Did you notice any major changes in your rotation when you got the new abilities at like 57? Or have you?
Yeah, I noticed they did something a little bit different with Maul or Shadow Strike for the Shadow. It's a little bit quicker. It's not like a go back and then stabby stab. It's just kind of a stab. But they changed the shock to ball lightning, which is it's a longer animation, I think. So
does that throw off your cast time? Does that throw? It
feels different.
Does that throw off the cast time? I guess I mean, although there isn't a cast time, there's no channel, but
yeah, it feels a little bit different than I don't know. It feels just a little bit different, but I guess I'll get used to it. It's not really a big change in comparison to the other classes. I know. I've been very lucky to not have to do much with mine.
So, Brian Brady, how did you how did you feel about the discipline system with your class? Remind me which class you played again? You Bounty Hunter. Did you notice? big differences?
Yeah, I play also a Deception Assassin because I'm a follower, I guess, and a Pyro Merc or Innovative Ordnance. I'm still getting used to that. The discipline system, first off, it was a kick in the pants to have to buy all my skills again. So I was out a good 50, 60,000 credits per character just when I logged into the game. That was a bummer. But what the thing that I noticed the most is they play mostly the same, but there's a couple details that are different. You know, for the Pyromerc, thermal detonator isn't a dot anymore, and that used to be a big part of your opening rotation. Well, now you do whatever the serrated shots to get your dot up, or you do you have to rearrange a little bit. But even going through my old rotation, I was still pretty effective. It felt just a little bit different. I know I wasn't getting it quite right, and I still have to experiment a little bit more. And I'm totally happy to relearn a little bit. So I feel pretty good about it. You know, just for me, change is good because I hate it when things get static.
How about you, Chuck, and your sniper? Were you thrown by the rotation?
I jumped in, and the first thing I did was jump into PvP, and that was the biggest mistake I could possibly make. Because I was like, let's just see if it pops, and boom, it pops. I'm like, all right, cool. And I had just adjusted everything, and I was like, all right, cool. And you know, most of the icons are pretty much the same. There's a couple of new skills there for the sniper, but when you see the same icons, you go, it's got to do pretty much the same thing, right? Yeah. You know, and I looked at the stuff. I read all about it ahead of time. No, not quite. It wasn't quite the same end result. There are a few things that kind of screwed up the rotation, but nothing you can't like learn through. I mean, it's just changes the order of things, and it added a couple of things that are kind of neat. The things that screwed me up on the sniper the most, I think, is the what you can do undercover and not undercover, because you used to have to go into cover to
right.
ambush and snipe, I believe.
Right.
And then,
yeah, why did they put flyby back on frickin' being in cover?
I know, it's
WTF.
Yeah, and that's what screwed me up the most.
Yeah.
More than I never would have thought that would have caught me like that, but it caught me so much, especially in PvP, because I use it constantly. So yeah,
the irony is you used to need to be in cover, and then they took it off cover in 2.0, and now they put it back on cover for 3.0. It's like, good God, make up your mind.
What are your thoughts, Red, on the discipline system? You notice any big changes in any of your classes, or is it just kind of
my commando healer feels dramatically different. Granted, I haven't actually played him for 2 years.
Wow.
He was a healer before, but I did get a new heal that, like, all of a sudden I am like the AoE heal king. It's remarkable, because I've got my cloud that I throw on the ground. I've got this one that just spreads like a virus, but it happens to be healing. And then I've got my AoE knockback, and I've got my trauma probe that I can throw on everybody. And, you know, that trauma probe was a change, but I haven't played since they made that change. So, yeah, it does feel quite different, and I'm enjoying it a lot. Beyond that, I played the
I do have a question about the commando, though. You were talking about that. One of the things, and I don't know how this did it. I actually missed this part of the live stream when they were doing it. They added a new healing ability. It's a different healing ability that I know on the bounty hunter you don't notice it as much. Like, it's less noticeable in PvP. Is the new heal for the commando the same way? Are we still looking at something that is less noticeable in PvP?
Visually? Like
visually, yeah, because there was this. It used to be this big beam.
If they don't have you targeted looking for a cast bar, they won't see it. It's
Excellent.
Great.
Yeah, that's
very. Oh, and by the way, I didn't notice this from their stream. Blew my frickin' mind. It can jump 20 meters to the next person. It's got a 50-meter range. You target somebody that's at 30 meters, and it can bounce 20 meters from that person.
Well, I know what
change coming on in 3.1.
We know what the next nerf is going to be. No.
Which I will tell you. I mean, in arenas, I was doing all right. And granted, like I haven't been playing forever, so I was really struggling. But in 8s, I felt like I was in God mode. I mean, because I'm throwing, and the thing is, okay, I've got my cloud, that's instant cast. I've got a new instant cast, and they've reworked it so that when you proc when you use your instant cast, it makes your long channel an instant cast. So then you've got your trauma probes, which are also instant cast, and then you do have the channeled dot, but unless they're looking at you, they don't see the channel. So it's just spreading and healing everybody. You're highly, highly mobile. You hardly ever use the one that's supposed to build your stacks. What I started doing is, since I don't want to show off my Ghostbusters laser beam, I just target myself in order to build up the stacks.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, they're really, really, really strong right now. And the utilities have actually had a profound impact on that. Very, very, very useful utility points available to the commando if you want to be playing as a healer.
I do know that our in raid situations, our sort healer is actually changing over to a mercenary healer because of the changes that were done to that class. And yeah,
I don't know if you have heard of SWTOR healer.
Yep.
He's a recent addition to the podcast community, but I was discussing with him when I was putting out my poll for what class to play. He said, if you're a commando, be a healer. This is not Shadow of Revan. This is Rise of the Merc healer.
Good.
And that's all he does. He only plays healers, but he plays all of them on both sides. So I mean, we have to see in live, right? But I would assume that his analysis is probably accurate.
No, he's probably right. I mean, I've noticed huge changes to the Merc healer, and I'm excited. I'm actually excited for that because in the past that has kind of been the healer that people have shied away from. I am a little bit afraid that they might have overcompensated, but
there are some things that they could naturally dampen down without completely butchering it, though, and it would still be strong. I do think they came out the door a little overpowered. I need to play PvE. I'm very much looking for it. Unfortunately, I'm on the show right now, so I'm missing out on our first 16-man operations group. But I'm very much looking forward to doing the PvE content to see if I feel that crazy OP.
But Sonata's saying that
the single targets are still really strong. Yeah. Every single class has gotten such a huge boost to their resources. I have bought about a few times, but it feels like cooldowns that give me like the free instant cast and the boosted energy and the all this crap that I get. It's like it feels like those are up all the time.
Well, one of the things, but speaking of resources, though, I do have to say something about my new ability as a Marauder is that I feel like I can't do my regular rotation. So the normal abilities that I would have that would generate DPS, I have to get rid of one that I would normally use because now I have this new ability, and if I were to use all of my abilities that I normally would use in a rotation, now I'm out of resources. I think this, and I think honestly, having played through a couple of classes, at least at level 55, I did try out a couple of classes at level 60. I think I can say this since I was in beta, but I did try a couple of classes in beta that seemed okay. It seemed like the only one I really had any kind of issue regarding resources was a Marauder, and then specifically Annihilation Marauder, because Carnage Marauder, just fine. Actually, I never had an issue. In fact, I think Carnage Marauder is probably going to be the go-to Marauder class overall, even though it already kind of is. Anybody else notice? Anybody else notice any major changes or issues with their classes once that?
I love that my saber throw roots and yours doesn't.
I hate you.
Sorry, I couldn't resist.
I'm actually, and I said this, and I really feel sad about this because I really like the Marauder class. I like the way, especially Annihilation, how it plays and how the synergy was between the different abilities before 3.0, and with Rupture not being on a cooldown, and with the new ability also not being on a cooldown, I am now having to watch my UI a lot closer than I have had to before, and it's kind of puts me off a bit. I want to play the game part of it and not necessarily watching the UI part of it. I don't want to play Whack-A-Mole, or I want to play Star Wars: The Old Republic. So it's probably just me. Maybe somebody can teach me how to play Marauder again. But so
I think there'll be some adjustments. I did level with my commander. I did commando. I did want to put this out there. I felt like there were what tree? I was in the third tree. There were definitely moments, and because I was grabbing every single healer piece because I knew I wanted to be a healer. I don't know if maybe Alacrity was totally throwing it off, but it did feel wonky. It felt a little off-putting, and there were times where things didn't quite sync up timing-wise, and I was supposed to cast one of two abilities in order to reset the cooldown, and those weren't working quite right. And I guess I'll self-plug. On the 14th, I believe, I'm going to be doing an interview with Ufalong and Keyboard Ninja.
Ooh.
And we'll be going over a lot of how these stat changes are actually going to be affecting the classes and everything. So I've got questions to ask them about that, especially centered around Alacrity, because it seems like it's a stat we should investigate now.
Excellent. And we are running really long here, so we're running out of time. But I do want to ask: is there anything? Let me just ask: what are your final impressions of everything so far? Let me start with Mike here. What are you thinking of the expansion as a whole? Good. You're going to recommend it to everybody? Is it worth the $20? What do you think?
Well, listening to what you guys have said about the story content and the two new planets, and then based on everything that I'm playing so far at little lower levels, sub levels, $20, yeah, definitely worth it. It's hard to argue with a $20 price tag on it. If it was any more, then we'd start having a little bit of a debate back and forth, but just being able to throw a lightsaber and root Larry for 3 seconds is definitely worth $20 in my book.
Red, you were nodding your head. You in agreement? Totally worth the price tag. And is there any final thoughts?
No, I wish I'd brought another rant for you on the show today, but I got nothing because honestly, I'm so busy having fun. I'm pissed that I didn't get to take the day off like other people did. I've been really, really enjoying it. And I guess I do have one complaint. You give me this 12 times experience. I now have like 19 55s, and now I've got to get them all to 60, and I don't even want to stop playing the first one I got to 60.
You know what? So, I'm going to second that with Red. They need to bring that shit back. I didn't finish in time. So they definitely did. Just a week. Give me a couple of days, BioWare. That's all I need, really. Just let me know.
They should totally leave it in for those people that didn't get the early access, you know? They mentioned that they might add it in with into Legacy. I'd love that. 100%.
Heather, final thoughts. What are you on the expansion? Good? Is it worth it?
Is it worth $20? Yeah, I mean... Yeah, of course it is. I mean, I think of when I buy video games or anything like that. It's so different. I mean, I can go to the movie theater right now, go pay like $11 to watch The Hunger Games, pay like $8 in snacks. That's $19. And that's for what? How long is the movie? Like 2 hours? It's like a 2-hour movie that, okay, whatever, I'm never going to see again. But this, it's like, you know, I pay $20. I play it for how many hours? Like hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of my life. It's worth the entertainment cost for me. I mean, I don't know. I just don't understand why people complain about that and then they go see a movie or something.
I'm with you. I agree. How about you, Chuck? Final thoughts?
I spent $20. Wait, what happened? It feels like I spent it like 4 months ago, so I forgot that I even like bought the expansion early. I was like, oh yeah, I guess I did spend $20 on that. Yeah, totally worth it. I mean, it's been worth it from day one, you know, as a subscriber, you know, for me. So I mean, it's one of those things that it's just the cost of doing business at this point. You know, it was it seems like it's giving enough, and I'm hoping, fingers crossed, as far as PvP is concerned, we're going to get a little bit more out of it. But I like what I see. I like the interface. I like some of the what I was talking about with the camera changes. I can see where a lot of this stuff is going to. So definitely worth it. Definitely worth it. Definitely.
Brian, Brian, how about you? Final thoughts?
It's definitely a value for the $20 that we spent on it. Just to get the Don Knotts owl by himself, I think I'd pay $8. My only concern is that I hope there's enough to keep me entertained for however long till the next expansion comes out. I really hope it's not another year.
2 years till the Jedi Knight expansion.
Right.
Yes.
Well, we know that they don't have any small expansions coming out. They don't have anything like GSH or GSF coming out.
Maybe if we just say they do, maybe if we keep saying they do, they will come out with something. That's what my hope.
Maybe it'll come true.
At least just another map for GSF. That's all I want. Just one more map, please.
Dear Santa, can't you make that happen?
All right. Well, if you,
I would actually be happy with the same maps for GSF. Just give me another game mode. But
yeah.
If you want to hear more of Chuck's amazing voice, unfortunately you can't witness his amazing beard on the Bad Feeling podcast. You can go to badfeelingpodcast.com or catch him on Twitter at Bearded Ape. And you could also at Bad Feeling Podcast, you can hear more of Brian. And he actually is over the Twitter account for Bad Feeling Podcast, which is Bad Feeling PDCST. Right? I guess that right.
Yeah. We ran out of letters.
That's right. All right, and if you want to hear more of Heather, she is on the Carillion Run Radio podcast every other week. And did you do one this week? I forget. Or you did one?
Yes.
You did one last Sunday, right? Or you recorded on Sunday.
Oh gosh, I don't know. We've been so on our schedule because we've been doing special episodes and stuff.
Anyway, go to CarillionRun.com or go to PrettyLittleSith.com, or you can catch her on Twitter at Heather_PLS. And Mike Byrne, where's your little tag there? Oh, I can't click on you, Mike. We're frozen on Heather. Oh well. Way to end the show.
Good time to end.
Yeah. So anyway, Mike is on the internet.
Heather, move your mouth.
There we go. Okay, there we go. Now we're moving. Moving. There we go. Sorry. Okay.
You're gonna have a really cool effect there for a second.
You can catch Mike on the Twitters at MagicMan with 2 N's and a 1 at the end. MagicMan1. You can also, where else can we find you, Mike? I'm not even sure where you are anymore.
The Game Breakers and editor-in-chief of MMOBomb.com, where I link to Larry's work all the time.
Excellent. And last but not least, you can catch Redna on the UtiniCast, utinicast.com, also on Twitter at R3DN4. Also catch his Twitch stream on twitch.tv/R3DN4. Amazing Twitch stream. I really like watching your Twitch stream. It's great when I can catch it. And if you're looking for more of my stuff, you can catch me on Twitter at Shadow, SHADDOE. Of course, go to hyperspacebeacon.com. I post on that. I'm also on Massively. I write the Hyperspace Beacon there. And every single day, I am on Gamebreaker TV doing the news. And you can follow Gamebreaker TV on Twitter at Gamebreaker TV. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we will see you next week. Goodbye.
À tout à l'heure.